Imagine this. You wake up in the morning, open your phone, and check your crypto wallet. The balance is zero. Your Bitcoins are gone. Not because hackers cracked your password, not because you accidentally sent them to scammers. Simply because someone with a quantum computer calculated your private key in a few minutes. Something that would take an ordinary computer billions of years. You check the news. The Ethereum blockchain has been broken. Bitcoin is under attack. $2 trillion of cryptocurrency. Market capitalization evaporate within hours. Panic, chaos, the end of the crypto revolution. This is not science fiction. This is a real threat that is approaching. The question is not whether this can happen. The question is when. Today, we will break down how quantum computers will break cryptocurrencies, why this is inevitable, and how much time we have left. What are quantum computers and why are they dangerous? Ordinary computers work with bits, units of information that can be 0 or 1. Your processor performs operations sequentially, one bit at a time. Quantum computers use qubits, quantum bits. A qubit can be 0 and 1 at the same time thanks to the phenomenon of superposition. This means that a quantum computer can perform many calculations simultaneously, exponentially more than a classical computer. For example, a regular computer with 10 bits can represent 1 out of 1,024 numbers at any given moment. A quantum computer with 10 qubits can represent all 1,024 numbers at the same time. Scale this up to more than 1,000 qubits, and you get a machine capable of solving problems that would require billions of years for classical computers. Why this kills cryptocurrencies. The security of Bitcoin and all cryptocurrencies is based on public key cryptography, specifically on the algorithm called ECDSA, the elliptic curve digital signature algorithm. This is how it works. You have a private key, a random 256-bit number. This is your password. From it, a public key is mathematically generated, and then a wallet address. When you send Bitcoins, you sign the transaction with your private key. The key point is this. It is easy to obtain the public key from the private key, but it is almost impossible to compute the private key from the public key. Almost impossible for classical computers means this. It requires 2 to the power of 128 operations. Even all the computers in the world working for billions of years would not be able to do this. But quantum computers change the game. There exists Shor's algorithm developed in 1994. This algorithm allows a quantum computer to efficiently factor large numbers and solve the discrete logarithm problem, exactly the problems that protect cryptocurrencies. With a sufficiently powerful quantum computer roughly between 1,500 and 4,000 qubits. Shor ES algorithm can calculate a private key from a public key in minutes or hours instead of a billion years forge digital signatures, allowing an attacker to spend someone else's Bitcoins and break the blockchain by rewriting transaction history. How many qubits are needed to break Bitcoin research shows that to break a single Bitcoin address, a quantum computer with 1.9 million physical qubits is required for about 10 minutes. Alternative research claims that with improved quantum algorithms, only several thousand logical qubits may be sufficient. The current state of quantum computers is the following. IBM has a quantum processor called Condor with 1,121 qubits as of 2023, and they plan more than 4,000 by 2025. Google, in December 2024, announced the Willow chip with 105 qubits, but with a breakthrough in error correction. Tasks that require a supercomputer 10 septillion years, Willow solves in 5 minutes. China has a quantum computer with 66 qubits capable of breaking certain forms of encryption. Microsoft, Amazon, and startups are actively investing in quantum technologies. The problem is that most current qubits are noisy, meaning they have a high error rate. To break cryptography, logical qubits with quantum error correction are needed. One logical qubit may require more than 1,000 physical qubits. But progress is exponential. In 2019, Google had 53 qubits. In 2023, more than 1,000. What about 2030? The threat timeline looks like this. A conservative estimate says that between 2028 and 2030, quantum computers will reach the threshold for breaking weak crypto systems. Between 2030 and 2035, the first successful attacks on blockchains will occur. Between 2035 and 2040, Bitcoin and Ethereum will be under real threat. An aggressive estimate says that between 2027 and 2028, there will be a breakthrough in quantum algorithms and the first attacks on RSA cryptography. Between 2029 and 2030, Bitcoin addresses with exposed public keys will start getting cracked. By 2030, quantum supremacy over blockchains will be achieved. Q-Day, the day of the quantum apocalypse. Experts call this Q-Day, the day when quantum computers become powerful enough to break modern encryption. The United States National Institute of Standards and Technology warns that Q-Day may arrive within 10 to 15 years, and preparation must begin now. But for cryptocurrencies, Q-Day may arrive earlier because blockchains are public and contain billions of dollars of incentive for attack. Let us live through this scenario of how quantum hackers destroy Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Not all Bitcoin addresses are equally vulnerable. There are two types. P to PKH addresses are the old format. The public key is revealed only when a transaction is sent. Before that, the hash of the public key is protected. A quantum computer would have to break the hash function, which is more difficult. P2, PK addresses, and reused addresses expose the public key fully on the blockchain. These addresses are directly vulnerable to Shor's algorithm. According to estimates, approximately 3 to 4 million Bitcoins, that is about 15 to 20% of the total supply, are held on addresses with exposed public keys. This includes early addresses associated with Satoshi Nakamoto, holding roughly 1 million Bitcoin. The value is estimated at $90 billion to $240 billion on vulnerable addresses. Before Q-Day, quantum hackers build a database of all addresses with exposed public keys, prioritizing those with the largest balances. They develop specialized quantum algorithms to optimize the attack, and they wait for the moment when their quantum computer becomes powerful enough. Then Q-Day arrives and the first attack happens. A quantum hacker launches an attack on a Satoshi Nakamoto address with a balance of 50,000 Bitcoin, worth approximately $1.5 billion. Shor's algorithm runs on a quantum computer with 5,000 logical qubits. The time required to compute the private key is several hours. The private key is obtained. The hacker creates a transaction transferring 50,000 Bitcoin to an address under their control. The transaction is included in a block. The Bitcoins are moved irreversibly. The crypto community notices the anomaly. A Satoshi address that has been inactive for 15 years suddenly moved coins. Panic spreads. People ask whether Satoshi has returned. Others say no, this is a hack. Analysts confirm that this is a quantum attack. The public key was known and the private key was computed. The first Q-Day in history has occurred. The immediate reaction is brutal. The price of Bitcoin collapses by 40 to 60% within the first 24 hours. Investors panic and sell. $2 trillion of cryptocurrency market capitalization shrinks to about $500 billion. Other cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum and Litecoin also crash. They use similar cryptography. If Bitcoin is vulnerable, all of them are vulnerable. Exchanges suspend withdrawals. Coinbase, Binance, and Kraken freeze transactions under the pretext of protecting users, but in reality to prevent a bank run. A second wave of attacks begins. Other quantum hackers, including states such as China, Russia, and the United States, or criminal syndicates, launch their own attacks. Their targets are addresses with the largest balances and exposed public keys. Within 1 week, 1 to 2 million Bitcoin are stolen through quantum attacks. This corresponds to approximately $30 billion to $60 billion. The community reacts. Developers propose an emergency hard fork to freeze the stolen coins and upgrade cryptography to quantum-resistant algorithms. But serious problems arise. Decentralization means there is no central authority to enforce an update. Consensus is required from miners, nodes, and users. A philosophical split emerges. Part of the community argues that code is law and transactions must not be reversed. Others argue that this is an emergency and the system must be saved. The result is a split into two chains. One is Bitcoin Classic, the original and vulnerable chain. The other is Bitcoin Quantum Resistant. The community is divided. Chaos follows. If the hard fork succeeds and the majority migrates to the quantum resistant version, Bitcoin survives, but it loses 50 to 70% of its value and trust. If the split continues, both versions are weakened. Bitcoin's dominance as digital gold is called into question. Ethereum has an advantage due to faster governance, but upgrading the entire network still takes time. Smaller cryptocurrencies without active development die. Ghost projects with exposed keys are destroyed. Non-fungible tokens worth billions of dollars become worthless. Decentralized finance platforms such as Uniswap and Aave are hacked and funds are stolen. The quantum threat destroys not only cryptocurrencies, but the entire Web3 ecosystem. Only those cryptocurrencies that upgraded in advance to quantum-resistant cryptography survive. Examples include QAN platform, IOTA, and Ethereum 2.0. But most cryptocurrencies are not ready, and upgrading requires coordination, time, and the willingness of the community. The picture is bleak, but this is not a verdict. There are solutions. The question is whether we will manage to implement them in time. Quantum-resistant cryptography refers to cryptographic algorithms that cannot be efficiently broken by quantum computers, even using Shor's algorithm. The National Institute of Standards and Technology has been working on standardizing quantum-resistant algorithms since 2016. In 2024, they finalized the first standards. These include Crystal's Kyber for data encryption, Crystal's dilithium for digital signatures as a replacement for ECDSA, Sphinx Plus as an alternative signature scheme, and Falcon as another signature scheme. These algorithms are based on mathematical problems that are difficult even for quantum computers, such as lattice-based cryptography, hash functions, and multivariate polynomials. Can Bitcoin be upgraded? Technically, yes. But it is difficult. What would need to be done is the following. The signature protocol would have to be upgraded from ECDSA to a quantum-resistant algorithm. All coins would need to be migrated to new addresses with quantum-resistant keys. A deadline would have to be set, for example, that after 2 years, all addresses of the old format would be frozen. There are serious problems. Lost coins associated with Satoshi amount to approximately 1 million Bitcoin on old addresses that have never moved. If the keys are lost, these coins will either be stolen or frozen. There is resistance from the community, as Bitcoin maximalists may oppose protocol changes. Quantum-resistant signatures are 10 to 50 times larger, which increases transaction size and puts more load on the network. Ethereum is more flexible due to active governance. Vitalik Buterin and the team are discussing a transition to quantum-resistant signatures in a future upgrade, as well as account abstraction, which allows users to choose the signature scheme. If Ethereum upgrades first, it may become the dominant blockchain in the post-quantum era, overtaking Bitcoin. There is also a more sinister scenario already unfolding. This is often described as harvest now, decrypt later. Government intelligence agencies, such as the National Security Agency, and the Chinese Ministry of State Security are already recording all encrypted data, including blockchain transactions. They cannot break it today, but they store the data and wait until quantum computers become available. Then they decrypt everything retroactively. For blockchains, this means that all transactions with signatures are recorded, and 10 years later, private keys are computed from old signatures and the coins are stolen. Edward Snowden warned that the National Security Agency stores encrypted data in anticipation of quantum computers. The solution is the generation of completely new keys using quantum-resistant cryptography that have never been used in old transactions. What should an investor do right now? Use addresses that do not reveal public keys. Never reuse addresses. Use SegWit or taproot addresses. Monitor protocol updates. When a quantum-resistant upgrade is announced, update immediately. Diversify. Do not keep everything in one cryptocurrency. Consider projects that are working on quantum resistance. Consider moving part of holdings into fiat, gold, or silver. Gold is not threatened by quantum computers. Use cold storage with multi-signature setups, but remember that if a quantum computer computes private keys, cold storage will not save you. What should the industry do? Bitcoin and Ethereum foundations should immediately begin developing quantum-resistant versions, run test networks, and set migration deadlines. Exchanges should upgrade their infrastructure and help users migrate funds. Governments should fund research and establish standards. But will this be done in time? The history of technology shows that people react to crises rather than prevent them. Most cryptocurrencies will likely not be upgraded before the first quantum attack. After the first breach, panic will begin and emergency updates will follow. Some cryptocurrencies will survive, others will die. There's a silver lining. Quantum technologies may strengthen cryptocurrencies in the long term. Quantum key distribution allows the transmission of keys with absolute security. Quantum-resistant blockchains represent a new generation resistant to all known attacks. A quantum internet with quantum teleportation could create a fully protected network. If the crypto industry adapts, it may emerge stronger after the quantum threat rather than weaker. The final verdict is that the countdown has begun. Quantum computers will break Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. This is inevitable if no measures are taken. The timeline is roughly as follows. From 2025 to 2027, quantum computers continue to grow and the first warning signs appear. From 2028 to 2030, Q-Day arrives for weak cryptography, and the first attacks on old blockchains are possible. From 2030 to 2035, Bitcoin and Ethereum face direct threat if they are not upgraded. We have approximately 5 to 10 years. That sounds like a long time, but in the world of cryptocurrencies, where consensus takes time, it is very little. The question is not if, but when, and whether we will be ready. Cryptocurrencies will either adapt and become the quantum-resistant future of finance, or they will die and become a footnote in the history of technology. A good idea killed by quantum physics. The countdown has begun. The clock is ticking.